Hey, how you doing?
Got some Freddy Krueger dolls.
Freddy Krueger dolls. Did you get scared when you watched Freddy Krueger the first time?
Being honest with you, when I saw it, it scared the out of me. This is bringing back nightmares.
You okay, boss?
I decided to come out to the pawn shop to sell some Freddy Krueger dolls that are signed. I paid around $10 each for these dolls, and I'm looking hopefully to get $40 or $50 so I can show a little bit of an investment.
So what can you tell me about these, sir?
They've never been out of the box except to be signed. This one was out of the box. It's signed underneath the belly, and there's a pull string on the back.
That's creepy.
This one has never been opened, and it's signed there.
Were you scared to meet Freddy?
No, nice guy.
Robert Englund played Freddy Krueger. The fact that he signed these dolls is kind of cool. Nightmare on Elm Street has become a cult classic. I think every teenager in the world has seen this movie.
I remember watching it when I was about 6.
That's probably what's wrong with you today. I never understood horror movies. If you want horror, have a couple of kids. What are you wanting to do, sir? Pawn them, sell them?
I like to sell them.
Yeah, well, I'm not much of a Freddy Krueger doll collector. I'd go 40 bucks for them, guy. That would be
That's
about
for both
top.
of them?
Yeah.
They're signed. They've never been out of the box. They're running for 45, 50 bucks a piece online without a signature.
I'd push it to 50. I ain't going no higher than that.
All right, we got a deal. That'll work for me. I'm happy.
Tell me go do the paperwork, would you please?
I made 50 bucks on the dolls. I feel great about it. Now go out and invest the money in something else.
So what do you got here?
I've got a book about the vampire of all vampires, Mr. Dracula himself. And it's also autographed by the original creator and author, Mr. Bram Stoker. It's worth money. Lots of money, I hope. I decided to come to the pawn shop today to sell my autographed copy of Bram Stoker Dracula. The kids are going to college. I need money.
How'd you get it?
I bought it at a charity auction.
Okay. Mind me asking what you paid for it?
Less than what you're going to give me for it.
All right.
And this is the guy that put Dracula on the map.
He didn't invent the vampire, though. That's been around for years and years and years. The interesting thing about the book is that the original idea came from Vlad the Impaler. Bram Stoker made him a vampire, but the real Vlad the Impaler impaled over 100,000 people on the way into a city.
I don't know. That's weird in my book. I don't have any idea.
You can imagine just the smell of that.
Awful.
Bram Stoker pretty much invented the modern-day vampire story. The vampire genre is huge these days, and that wouldn't happen if we didn't have Dracula first.
It's all original. No torn pages.
Yeah.
Everything's in good shape.
So what do you want to do with this?
I'd like to sell it.
Any idea on how much you want?
Around $15,000.
Problem is, you don't have a first edition. Those first editions were printed in Europe. If it was a first edition, what you're asking for all day long. And I don't know what his signature's worth. Signed copies of this book go for crazy amounts of money, so it's worth getting checked out. Let me get my buddy Drew down here to check out the signature.
Okay.
And once he does that, then we'll work on some numbers.
Okay, good. I'm really excited that he's bringing an expert to try to authenticate the book, to see if it's real, where I can get my money.
Dracula book.
I got an American first edition, allegedly signed by Bram Stoker.
Wow, how about that? The guys usually call me down when they have questions for signatures in books, documents, or any type of memorabilia. Bram Stoker actually wrote over a dozen books, but this is by far his most famous book. I mean, how many movies have been made about this?
Yeah, I mean,
It was actually not the original book. There was a book apparently written 30, 40 years beforehand, and it never caught on like this book. It's definitely the most famous horror book ever written, no doubt about it. Well, what do you think, Corey? The signature may not be authentic?
you know me, man. If it doesn't have paperwork with it or anything, I call you.
Well, let's take a closer look at the signature and see if it's authentic. Okay. If the signature's authentic, it's going to be worth a lot of money. One thing that's interesting is before the turn of the century, he would write his capital B in kind of like an arm type shape. The upper stems get the little switchback type loops here, T-bars. Well, let's see. This is authentic. There's no doubt in my mind.
Good.
No doubt.
It's a autographed copy of Bram Stoker Dracula. One of a kind. I'm really excited.
Let's talk numbers now. You know what his signatures are going for?
The condition of the book is not very good. Pages are not missing, but there's a lot of wear. If I had to put a retail on it, really, I would have to say $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming down, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
It's not the 15 that I was hoping for, but make me an offer.
I want to say $2,000.
A little more. How about 3,000? Got to pay for college, got cars to buy, and the man just said 4,000 or 5,000.
He did say 4,000 or 5,000. We're talking about auction and retail prices, though. I'll tell you what. I'll do $2,300 for you, and that's the best I can do.
25?
$2,350. That's my best offer.
Deal.
Let's go write it up, man.
I'm walking out of the store today with $2,350. I'm happy. Glad I came to the pawn shop.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you guys? I brought my shower curtain in today.
It's kind of creepy.
It's even creepier because it's signed by Anthony Perkins.
The basketball player?
No, the psycho dude. Reek, 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 reek. I won the shower curtain in San Diego on a contest, and Anthony Perkins signed it when he showed up to give a speech about directing Psycho 3. I want to sell the shower curtain because I need a little extra money, and it's a decent item. I'm going to ask $400, but I think the least I would take would be $300.
This is deeply, deeply cool. Is it just me, or is it weird that you got a shower curtain autographed?
Well, it has to do with the whole Psycho thing.
Did you ever see the original movie Psycho?
No.
There's a movie came out, I think it was 1960. Hitchcock directed it. It has the most iconic horror flick scene in it ever. There was a shower scene where supposedly Hitchcock took a week to film that. You never actually saw her stabbed. You just saw the blood going down the drain.
That doesn't sound very scary.
It was incredible. The way it was filmed is considered like a cinematic masterpiece thing. It was like the scariest movie ever.
It's iconic.
The shower scene in the original Psycho was radical to the extreme during its time. Anyone who originally saw that at the movies was looking over their shoulder before they got in the shower. Okay, so how much do you want for this?
$400. It's not a photo, it's something a little bit more unique.
To tell you the truth, it actually sounds like a reasonable price. I just want to make sure it's his signature in his hand. Just hang out 15 minutes. I'll get a guy down here, and I want him to look at this, all right?
Sure.
I'll be right back.
I don't have a problem with him calling an expert today. I was there, and I know the signature is real.
I don't want to get butchered on this thing, so I called in my buddy Steve to get a price. This is my shower curtain expert.
Yeah.
All righty.
Just started.
This is my shower curtain.
Very cool. So he died in 1992. It's definitely an unconventional item to see signed by him. And rarely, and this is a good thing about him, rarely see anything on him. So when you tell me you have a shower curtain signed by this guy, it sounds kind of far-fetched.
Okay.
Well, you know, Anthony Perkins, I mean, he had started some really big movies, and he was very well thought of in Hollywood. But this one movie, Psycho, obviously that kind of put him on the map. It's one of the most historically significant films in movie history.
So, is it legit?
Well, okay, two things I want to do. First is the ink. That's pretty interesting. It actually looks like blood. Here's an authentic version of a signature, and we see some of these similarities here. The two most important things in a signature were his A and his H, and they both kind of dominate his autograph. The next thing, he underlines, as you could see in this example.
Okay.
So, based on everything I see here, Rick, no question, this was signed by him. And I'm being honest, this is one of the coolest pieces I've actually seen come in here. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you never see something like this ever. This item is awesome.
Okay, so what's it worth?
Photographs, $300-400. Vintage stuff, $500-600. With that said, this is something I'd value right around the $800 to $1,000 range easily.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Good to see you. Take care. Good luck. Thank you. Yeah, you bet. There's no question about this piece being a great buy. Now, if Rick's able to get it for the store, that thing would sell in a heartbeat.
So, $400, it's a deal.
Would you be willing to go 6?
Well, you wanted 4
Well,
a little while ago.
that was before I listened to your expert.
Probably should have never called him in. I'll tell you what, I'll go $500.
500? Hold on. What do you think, Mother? I don't think Mother likes your bid. Would you go 550?
I still have to get it framed up. I still have to do a lot of stuff to sell it. $500.
I think Mother will take your offer.
Cool. Write him up, chum.
I don't know what Mother's doing, but come on, let's go.
Thanks. I think Mother's pretty ticked at me for settling for such a low price, but I'm gonna take the money and buy myself some new musical instruments.
Got a vampire defense kit.
Wow. Hey, Rick,
What?
check this out.
What do we got here?
A vampire defense kit.
All right. It looks like a real kit for killing vampires. And these things aren't supposed to exist.
Look, you can't see yourself in the mirror.
I have a vampire defense kit. I think the vampire defense kit's over 100 years old. My grandpa got it in 1960, and then I got it when he passed away.
This is truly one of the creepiest things I've ever been around. Just due to the fact that it's real. This is the kind of stuff that would be in a movie or something like that, but this is not a movie prop. It's way well too made.
I can just see myself in this time period. Never fear, Chum Helsling's here.
Just put it down. And it's so typical, like the early 1850s. Just like a portable shaving kit, you know, we could have 100 different little things on it. We have a rosary, because if you're gonna battle vampires, you're gonna need that.
Is it made out of real silver?
Yeah.
So I don't get it. A wooden stake will kill a vampire, but it has to be a silver bullet. How come a stake doesn't have to be made out of silver?
Because there's no such thing as vampires.
Everyone knows there's vampires, Rick.
Everything is 100% correct, but vampires don't exist, so I just don't understand who would have this. How much do you want for this?
It's over 100 years old. I was thinking 6 grand.
I've never seen anything in my entire career that even comes similar to compare this to, so I'm gonna give someone a call.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, this is creepy.
I bet you this is the guy who hunted vampires. He looks like a badass to me. He's even got a fanny pack on.
All I can say is welcome to Creepy Town.
Oh.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
This thing is fantastic. The term for this is a vampire defense kit.
I mean, would someone really just have this made up as a joke, or?
Well, 1880s, 1890s. This is like the apex of the Victorian fascination with spirituality. You had famous people in society who believed in vampires. It was fascination with the occult.
Okay.
Let me take a look at the guns. So the pistols are a matched pair, and they do date from about 1840 to about mid-1850s. That is a big barrel. That's at least a 50 caliber.
Well, you're hunting vampires and werewolves.
Yeah. I wonder if this has like holy water or something in it. Ether.
Okay.
Chum, smell that real quick. I'm kidding, dude. And this is a letter, November 1890. Dear friend, signed Arthur. I can't read that. All right, well, so there's a little bit of paperwork with it.
In today's money, this would have cost $10,000 or $15,000.
Oh, easily. The last one of these that was publicly sold at a major auction house sold for over $25,000.
All right. Thanks, man. I'll call you if I get this.
If you get this, please call me, because I want to do more research on it.
All right.
And maybe shoot the guns. I'm really intrigued by that letter. I'd like to research it just a little more, because maybe it could really unlock the mystery of how this set came to be.
All right. What will you take for it?
I mean, he said 25, so I think I'd be comfortable with 20.
Okay, first off, anyone else would have just gave you the $6 grand.
I appreciate that.
I'll give you 15 grand. The 20 guys in the world that want this aren't gonna randomly pop up in the shop.
You go maybe 18.5?
I'll tell you what, I will give you 16 grand. I'm not gonna go any higher. I have to take something like this, sometimes have to wait years to find the right auction to put it in. So 16 grand's it.
I'll let it go for 16.
All right, cool, man. You deal with this because I really don't want to touch anything anymore.
It's all right, Rick. I've got some vampires to slay.
Just put it away and be careful with it. It's a little creepy. Come on, come on. Hey, how can I help you?
Hi. I have a book for you to look at today.
Okay.
On the Trial of Witches.
On the Trial of Witches?
Printed in London in 1716.
Oh, that's great.
The two ladies that were accused here actually never confessed, but they were summarily hung.
All this back then was crazy, just the way it was proved you're a witch. They would keep on stacking bricks on your chest until you confessed, and then if you didn't confess, you just died.
I got this book from a friend of mine that decided he wanted to stop collecting books, so he offered it to me. The leather covers were essentially about to fall off. I wanted to rebind it so someone could read the book and enjoy it. If we're able to make a deal today, I'd like to be able to take the money and put it towards a college fund that my wife and I have set up for our twins.
This is about
a witch trial in 1662 that later formed the basis of the Salem witch trials in the 1690s.
a trial of witches at the Aziz?
Held at Bury St. Edmunds in Suffolk, England.
That's absolutely great.
Essentially what you have here is a transcript of the trial that was held at that time. So there's a lot of interesting notes about the things that the two ladies that were the witches, supposed witches, were accused of. And it's the children that they were accused of bewitching, it's basically their testimony.
Do you know that if this is like a first edition or a second edition?
This actually is a second edition. The first edition was printed in 1682. This is the stated second edition from 1716.
Okay. Hysteria around witchcraft has been around since the dawn of time. And in the 15 and 1600s in Europe, they had over 50,000 witches executed. It wasn't until the Enlightenment period they basically began to calm down on the whole witch thing. I like the binding on it. It looks pretty cool.
I had it rebound. When I originally got it, it was in a little bit rough shape on the outside, but everything on the text block on the inside was in remarkable condition.
Okay. So how much were you looking to get out of it?
I'm asking $2,500 for the book.
Okay. I have no idea if that's a good price or not. Do you mind if I have someone look at it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Would love to.
She knows everything there is to know about him. So,
okay.
Give me a few minutes. I'll get her down here. Have her take a look at it, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay, be right back.
Thank you. I'm excited to have an expert come in and take a look at the book. I look forward to hearing her opinion.
A book on witches.
Oh, think about it. If I lived in the 17th century, I would have been called a witch.
She gets called something close to that now.
Stop it. Would you like this evaluation? Or...
Yes, I would. Yes,
right.
And don't cast a spell on me.
All right. So, the trial of witches. This trial right here was a landmark case because Cotton Mather used this as the authority to say, we will use spectral evidence in the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
Spectral evidence is essentially dreams. The people who are being tortured by the witch, they can point to that person and say, oh, that was the person I saw in the dream. That can be used as evidence in a court of law.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, because I dream some really weird stuff, so...
Don't we all, though? And this was the precedent. This book is right up my alley. I love learning about these primary source historical records that tell us how people thought they had evidence for witchcraft, whether a woman was actually a witch.
So what do you think it's worth?
This is an okay shape. So you have the rebind, which is not the end of the world. And then, of course, you have the 1716 imprint here, which tells me, too, this is not the first edition. This was printed after the Salem witch trials, right? So that first edition is going to be more desirable because we know that's the edition that influenced the Salem witch trials.
Correct.
So as far as value goes, I would place this particular copy around $1,500 to $1,600.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thanks. You're the best.
You're welcome.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you.
And I would never call you a witch.
Or the other thing.
Have a nice day. Love you.
I think Rick could find collectors for this. This is a book that should intrigue people, so I think that it could excite the right buyer.
So what do you want now?
$12.50.
I'll give you $900 for it.
About $1,100.
I'll do $1,000.
How about $10.50? We'll split the difference
I
there.
will give you $1,000. It just doesn't make sense to pay any more. It doesn't.
Gotcha. All right, I'll do 1,000.
Sweet. I will meet you right over there. We'll do some paperwork, and I'll get you paid.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Well, certainly we want to be able to sell the book at the $2,500, but I do understand where the market is on that, and so I'm fine with that.